look at a couple cross choke setups and also a couple of the positional drills that we're going to do that's going to hopefully help people land the cross chokes.
Perfect.
Except for Matt. We won't show any of this to Matt.
Good. I don't like him anyway.
Okay. All right. Cross chokes from the guard. Supposedly Jiu-Jitsu 101, and then it stops working because it's really hard to do against somebody who's skilled in stopping it. But let's go over a few basics on how to set it up. Like really, when I'm cross choking, I'm thinking about my wrist bones connecting with the arteries on the side of the neck. That is the job. The hands are a little bit irrelevant. We'll look at that in a second. But when I shoot up for this first grip, really that's what I'm looking for, is like that contact, my wrist on his neck just under the ear. Now the hand's job is just to anchor things so that that won't move away when he starts moving and resisting. So the classic second shot is I'm going to come under here. This one is not as deep, and it doesn't need to be. What you really need to land a choke is one very effective choke position, and the other tool, whether it's your hand or your leg, which we'll look at in a second here too, is locking them in so they can't back away from the pressure once you put it on. But with this classic choke, now I'm going to bring my elbows down towards my ribs and extending my hips a little bit, and there's my choke, right? So here, we've got good contact with the neck. Now, all the other variations are just different ways of setting up that same idea of I've anchored my choke arm. So this one's my choke arm, and then I need to trap him in position where I can apply pressure. So if he comes down and is kind of controlling here to make that difficult for me, I'm going to trap him down, and I'll kick with my legs to swing my body. Now I've got position, and I can come back in and again get the choke. We can get even crazier with it. So if we're here and I've opened my guard now, another setup is just to come across and grab his shoulder. And again, I can get the choke as I'm pulling in. So it's my lat in that case that's trapping him in the position. And that'll work from crossbody too. But again, if we break down the cross choke, just the principles of I've got a choking arm, can be two, but the primary one has to have good contact with the artery and a solid anchor that's not going to slide. And then everything else is just how do I trap him in that position so he can't get away from it. One last variation on that is going to be a thumb in grip. So it's the same idea, just mirrored, so wrist bone connecting. This one, people I think tend to grab a little bit low, and then it turns into fighting for an air choke, mostly, like some blood, but also air. So make sure that one gets in a good position where you've got, there's that connection with the artery that I want. Now the second hand, the way I'm going to trap him in is use his gi, and so I'm pulling down across here so that he can't back away from the pressure when I apply it into the neck there. The leg's job when we're doing this is I just need to keep him on that side of my legs. And that's one of the first drills that we're going to look at is if I lock this up and I'm trying to get a closed guard against somebody who's ever, or trying to get a choke from closed guard against somebody who's ever defended it, it's going to be nearly impossible unless I'm much, much better or much, much bigger. The legs are going to help me get positioned. And they're also helpful to throw him off balance, create points of disruption where I can then get that anchor that I'm looking for. The drill we're going to do is we're going to start with one hand in, and then this person is trying to defend and pass. My job is just to get choke position with my hands. I don't even need to land the choke. The skill I'm trying to build, I'm trying to separate out some skills here. The one that I'm trying to build right now is, can I get to that position where I would have a valid choke if everything else was in place? So as Dan is passing and doing whatever, if I can get to there, even if he passes and the choke now becomes nothing that I can finish, that's my training win, right? I got there, my hands did their job. They got where they needed to be. Same thing, could be like a grip and that trap. Okay, I got my anchor, good. And then he gets away. All that's fine. We want to build that skill of can I get my hands in position? And then we'll add a second layer of can I keep him on the other side of my legs while I'm doing that? And that's really what we're going to do for choke week, is go over a few of the mechanics in detail so we really understand where our hands need to be or other body parts, and then we'll really focus on breaking down those two different skills of hand position and then leg control.